All right, welcoming in the head coach of the Cincinnati Bearcats. He's Luke Fickell. Coach, thanks so much for the time, man. I don't know how you actually find the time given all the success of your program, man. It's unbelievable. How you doing?
No, I'm doing well. Just it's week in, week out. It's week 7, I think, of the season, or 8. I can't even keep track. But as you get into this routine, it's it kind of just keeps rolling.
It's unbelievable to me to see the consistency that your program's played with. I just look back. I mean, even week 1, even in the defeat, right? So many opportunities, right? You almost leave the game. It's like, oh, leave. A couple plays here or there. Cincinnati wins that game on the road against a quality Arkansas team. How are you able to replace the pieces that you had last year so seamlessly, knowing that you've been a developmental program for the last handful of years, yet, boom, plug and play? There hasn't been much of a drop-off whatsoever.
Well, I don't know if I would say seamlessly. I think that maybe from the outside looking in, you see wins and things like that. And you got to give a lot of credit to the staff. I mean, they've done a phenomenal job at, really kind of coaching and teaching and getting a lot of these younger guys to grow and having them prepared. I mean, you could have I couldn't sit back in the last year or the last 2 years with some of the guys we had. You'd think maybe you guys got to probably enjoyed yourself and things like that. But I think they've done a phenomenal job, even in the last 2 years and last year in particular, at knowing what they needed to do in the development of a lot of those younger guys to make sure when these guys walked out the door that we weren't going to lose too much.
It probably, I would imagine, throughout the course of your off season. And I remember this being, hey, great guys leave, but there's great guys here, and they're all maybe even the tiniest bit hungrier than the previous group because they wanted to prove themselves and prove that there wouldn't be a drop-off when they're inserted into the lineup. Did you sense that maybe in the preseason as you were preparing for this year?
Yeah, I think it was in spring. I think in spring we had a really good time. And you could tell there was a sense of, I'd say urgency, but a hunger that sure. A lot of the younger guys that hadn't had some of the great opportunities because, let's be honest. Now you had 3 guys in the back end that were, all of which are playing a lot in the NFL right now, and
right.
2 of which are starters, and they were high end guys. And even though we always say we like to play more than 11 guys, like to play 22 guys on offense and defense, it's hard when there's a bigger discrepancy between that 1 and 2. And with our 2 corners and our boundary safety last year, those guys were so good. It was hard to, maybe get some other guys some reps and some opportunities because there was, that big of a difference. So it took a lot. It took a lot of development in the spring. Was uniquely different, but almost a bit more exciting.
No, I would imagine so. I mean, anytime, look, you've won 19 consecutive league games. I mean, that's a record, I might add. Technically it's tied for the record. UCF won 19 straight from 17 to 19. So knowing what's on the line this weekend, any additional pressure? I say that, of course, tongue in cheek.
Yeah, no, I think that's one of the things that our program has kind of gone through, and maybe some of these younger guys have gone through, is the feeling of that pressure of not understanding quite how to handle some of those things. And
right.
I think that's been a little bit of our woes of some sorts, and finding ways to win, but not maybe finishing and winning, maybe the way that which we could or believe we could. I think some of that has a little bit to do with it. But I think that's where our guys are learning and growing. And the pressure that which we apply most comes from within. And to me, that's the great pressure. That's the pressure that you want because of of a standard that you've set and an expectation that you've set.
Yeah, it's been awesome to watch you guys this year, knowing all the pieces you replaced offensively as well, to see what you're doing offensively. 37 points a game, 511 yards a game. I know you being the defensive lineman at your core, are you okay with the amount of credit that your offense is getting right now? You're okay with the love that the offense is receiving?
I love it. I think that you want to be able to have that. And we all know that it's becoming an offensive world. You quarterbacks have created this. I don't know how, but you have. Us dumb defensive line guys just got to kind of buy in, or else we get swallowed up. So I'm enjoying it. I'm excited about what it is that they've done, but I'm more excited to see how they continue to grow.
Well, I must also, if I'm going to give credit to your offense, I must also give credit to your defense, number one in red zone defense, if I'm not mistaken. It's amazing how the world's changed, Coach, and I know you've seen it, you've lived it. Now it really doesn't matter what you do between the 20s. Hardly at all. I mean, it's like, I hate that we say that. I hate that we're living in this world. We visited with Dan Lanning a few days ago. It's like, yeah, they gave up 7 red zone penetrations last week against UCLA, and yet they won by multiple touchdowns because it's all about how you play in the red zone. Your team's the best in the country at doing it. So what have you emphasized to that group that's led to these results in the most critical area of the field?
I think really as simple as it sounds is sometimes simplicity and understanding what the situation is like, trying to be, because it's about execution when you get down there. And we've been very fortunate to make some really big stops, some fourth down stops, some things, you call them red zone, I call them goal line, that have really helped us. But I think that there's a balance there of being simple enough that your guys can play really aggressive and really fast, but also being able to do what it is that you do. And I think that's where we've created a pretty good balance. And even with this young group, they really understand that. And I think they've thrived in those situations.
When you're dealing with a young group and knowing who you're playing this week, you don't have to, I mean, it's UCF. Like, they know it's a big game. Like, it's not like you need to spin this one, but I do think seeing how Jekyll and Hyde UCF's been this year is fascinating. I mean, to look how they looked offensively against Temple and to look how they look offensively against TCU. So how do you get the guys to focus, hey, man, we got to prepare for the best version of UCF as opposed to maybe what you saw last week?
I think that the good thing is each and every week, I think we believe that we get the best, whether it was South Florida, who, the quarterback didn't run the football other than against the game against Florida. Then he comes in and runs 17 times against us. And,
right.
So you've kind of said, hey, because of what these guys have done in the last few years and winning the last 2 years in particular, you're not sneaking up. I mean, everybody in some ways, has it circled because you probably have beat them in the last 2 years. And so there's not going to be some heightened awareness. There's not going to be, I say at their best, but, with all guns blazing for you. So whether it was week 1, even with Arkansas saying, hey, Arkansas, even though they don't know who you are or where you're really from, they do know what it is that you've done and you're going to get their best shot all the way up until last week. And the same thing with SMU. And, and so our guys understand that. I think that they recognize that. I think in our rivalry game, I think that's something that's really helped us because, it's 2 teams that are in different, leagues and going in different trajectories as programs with, a team in the MAC and a team moving to the Big 12. But you always see something a little bit different and you see that play that rises like it always happens in rivalry games. But it's a great example for us.
Yeah, I would imagine so. And I'm excited for this weekend's game. I think it's going to be phenomenal. You referenced quarterback run game. You're going to get some this week. It's no secret who Gus Malzahn is. It's no secret what their personnel is. So what would you say has been the all points bulletin message to your defense as you prepare for this tempo run-centric style of attack?
Well, I don't think, like you said, to think that you're going to just shut it down. I think that what you got to be able to do is make sure that you can keep leverage. You got to eliminate the big plays because that's always difficult when the quarterback is an option in the run because numbers are equal and it comes down to guys being able to get off blocks and being aggressive and the ability to make plays and obviously the uniqueness with not just his ability to run but his ability to run really fast adds a lot of different things with the talent and the speed that they've got around them. So. There's not any one thing. I think that's what they've done a great job of. Even though they are a run-heavy group, I think they've done a phenomenal job at creating big plays in the passing game as well.
It'll be a remarkable atmosphere there in the bounce house. You're going to get the fans' best shot. I can promise you that. The team may be a little inconsistent, but the fans, you will get a warm welcome, I would imagine, as you walk through the gates there in Orlando.
Homecoming in Orlando, yeah. I tried to tell them last night on the radio show. I think that Disney is opening up their gates to free admission at like 3:00. So if any of those students and them want to roll over to Disney and not come to the game, maybe we can not make it quite as crazy.
Are you suggesting that you're going to offer to buy a bunch of tickets for UCF students? Are you offering that?
Yeah, no. I don't know. I don't know if we can go quite there in NIL world if you can do that to normal students, right. But I think that we love that. We play in front of a great environment here, and we're excited about playing in front of a great environment there. Obviously one that's not for you, but nonetheless, it's what makes college football great.
And finally, Coach, this obviously is an interesting matchup. Not that dissimilar to some of the conversations we've had about BYU and Houston. Of course, it's been well documented. This rivalry will carry over into a new league next year. And I feel like the momentum that's been created for both your program and for Gus's program, Dana's program, and then for Kalani's program, knowing what's coming is significant. Now, your success last year, you don't need to sell much, but knowing that you now have the Power 5 moniker next to your name, how has that impacted your program and I guess the response that you're getting from recruits as you're out there on the trail?
Well, for us, it was kind of threefold, really, to be honest with you. The obviously the addition to the new league was one thing that we had battled with, just that, that stigma of not being in the P5. We don't really say those things, and we never will. But that stigma that always kind of was labeled against you was one thing you had to overcome. And then for us, obviously not just winning, but also the ability to go to a playoff that everybody talks about. Hey, you got to be here because if you want a chance to get in the playoffs, you can't do it unless you're in one of these leagues. And so that was another step for us. And then obviously the draft being as good as it was for us. So it was kind of a threefold last year, with the new league announcement, obviously the playoffs, and then the draft that has, I think, given us a little bit of a different perspective and opened up a bit more doors for us in all that we're doing, and recruiting is a big part of that.
No, it certainly is. And Coach, we're so proud of the success and the program you've created. We've called I feel like 7 or 8 consecutive AAC Championship games. I feel like I can just bookmark having a good visit with you in early December. I
would love to have that visit again. That's for sure, Greg.
That's for sure. No doubt about it. And those in the AAC that are paying attention to this, we do have issues, Coach. The one issue is they have a drone that delivers the game ball. I don't know if you've ever seen this, but if we can just maybe avoid that this year, that'd be big. I'm not sure. Other than that, everything about doing the AAC Championship game is like my favorite game of the year, one of my favorite games of the year. So just get rid of the drone.
I did not know that. I did not know that. I guess you learn something new every day, and that was one I've never heard that before.
Yeah, well, it's a tricky one for this guy.
They aren't taking a whole lot of suggestions from us in the AAC. In case you're wondering, we're not on a lot of the calls or any of the meetings, so I'm not sure that any suggestion coming from me is going to go very far.
Yeah, I can understand that, but maybe there will be certain Big 12 representatives that are in attendance there in Orlando, as they should be, knowing what pride you'll bring to that league here coming up very, very soon. Coach, best of luck this weekend. Congrats on a remarkable year and continued success.
Thanks, Greg. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Hey guys, it's Greg McElroy. Thanks for watching Always College Football. Make sure you like, rate, and subscribe to ESPN's YouTube channel and wherever you listen to your podcasts.